Nation of Fitin10, welcome to day 26, and it is the first day of the scans. We just kicked them off today, and we saw some really great results. We saw up to people losing 1.5 times their mini goal. And this is huge. And I'm not talking about people whose mini goal was 2 pounds fat loss. We're talking about people whose mini goals were 6, 7, 8 pounds or whatever. So we've seen some massive changes. Of course, it all boils down to relative change, and this is why I say that if you follow the program, if you're new, so you're not doing any of our classes or anything like this, and that's not to say you can't make amazing progress if you're already doing our classes, but the point is here is if the more relative change there is, the more change you will see. So if you're new, you're obviously at an advantage. But I digress a little bit here. What I want to say is we're all familiar with, I'm sure, that the terms active and sedentary. Active being, well, just active, and sedentary being non-active. When we talk about, or when I emphasize the pillars of this challenge, doing your 3 weight training sessions per week, doing your 3 cardios, this is really important, obviously, and this is going to make a massive change. But the other aspect of something that I don't emphasize, and this might very well be a little tweak that I'm going to make to the challenge, is also just general movement throughout the day. This will make a difference. This can be literally, depending on the size of the person that you are, hundreds of calories per day. So, for example, if you added in 3 10-minute walks, so certainly you can't sit at your desk all day and do work for, you can't sit at your desk for 8 hours and do work. Well, you could, but I can't imagine that you're going to be as productive in your first hour as you are in your second, your third, your fourth, for that matter. So you've got to take breaks. I highly recommend, even just for the sake of productivity, a change in scenery, getting outside, going for a 10-minute walk, and then coming back and getting back to work. Whether you're in the office or you're at home or whatever. So if you find that you have a job that you are, for the most part or largely, sedentary, you're not moving, I want to encourage you to get out and get moving, even 5 minutes. 5 minutes, brisk walk. Okay, it doesn't have to be brisk walk, but even if you have 5 minutes, you don't have a lot of time, go just change the scenery, get some fresh air, go for a brisk walk, and of course come back in and get back to work. This is going to help not only your productivity, but obviously it's going to help in your calorie burning. The reason I mention this is it's not about just burning calories here, but it's about being active on a regular basis. This is good for our health. This is good for our mental health and, of course, our physical health. So I really want to encourage you to move more if you're not already doing this. If you have a sedentary job, if you're not moving about very much in the day, and you can just, hopefully you've got an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, or maybe you carry your phone around with you, you can just take a look at the amount of steps you get per day. If you're not getting, if you're getting 2, 3, 4,000 steps per day, it's kind of on the low side, especially if you're getting 2. Really shoot for something along the lines of 6,000 or 7,000 steps per day, at least. All right, 10,000 steps is really good too, but I don't want to add that in at this point. All right, so get moving. This makes a massive difference. Huge. We're talking, really, even just 100 calories per day can make a big difference. Number 2, if you're struggling, make small changes throughout the challenge. Okay, so let me actually, I'm reading my notes here, but really what I'm saying here is you've got to, if you're struggling with this challenge, you've got to set some kind of benchmark. You've got to set something that you need to meet on a daily basis or a near daily basis. You've got to set a standard that you're going to hit, let's say week to week, and meet it continuously so that it can become a habit. You have something to shoot for, and then we can build on that. If we are not specific in how we are going to improve, it becomes very hard to improve. So for example, just like if you say to yourself, you know what, I got to do more, I'm going to do more. I'm going to start to enter more of my food in. I'm going to start. This is good. The intentions are there, but we need to set a standard. We need a benchmark. We need something to fulfill. We need something that we can hit. And then once we hit this on a regular basis, once we're able to do this, and if you're not able to do this, maybe we need to scale it down because maybe it's just too big. But at some point, the change should be small enough that you can hit it, no problem. And then we build on this. This is really, really important. Now, obviously in the challenge, I want you to be here. Here being, you're meeting all the pillars and you're doing everything, quote, perfect. But a lot of you, I know that's not the case, right? So if I want you here and you're down here, it is what it is. It's just the way it is. I don't want to say it's fine. It's not fine. It just is. Let's try to build on that. But in order to build on it, you've got to set the standard, okay? You got to set some kind of standard. Number 3, this is a little more specific here, but if you are entering in food as the day goes by, this is not a good strategy. And somebody said to me today, it's like, I enter in my food, but I just don't always have the time to enter it in. I've got crazy days, I've got this and that going on, and so I just can't enter it in, so I don't always know where I stand. It's like, that's not really the point of entering your food. I mean, that's great and everything. This is good. I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't do this. But what a better plan is, and I should make this more clear in the beginning. Maybe I didn't say it in these words, but when I mentioned planning and preparing, that means that you've already entered your stuff in your log to know, what you're going to have for the day. You already have your day planned out. You already have the food done. And so there is none of this guessing, and there is none of this, trying to meet your standards, especially if you have a busy day and you haven't pre-planned, it ain't going to happen. If you're at home and you're working and you got time to get up and go make some food and wave, that's fine. That's a different story. But if you got crazy days, especially away from home, you can't wing it. I say this in your manual. You cannot wing the challenge. That would be obviously a case of winging it. Okay, so you've got to. It's not about having time or not having time to enter in your food. You've got to take advantage or make time or find the days, Sunday morning or whatever, where you say, you know what, I'm just going to get up an hour earlier and I'm going to go through food prep. Okay, this is going to make or break you in the challenge, literally. Or this is one thing that can make or break you. Well, it's a big thing because food intake is a huge thing. Choices of food and what you eat is really a massive thing in this challenge because it is, as I mentioned, your energy input only comes from your diet. It doesn't come from anything else. Your energy output can come from so many different things, right? Whether it's our classes or you're just moving about in the day, or it's the cardiovascular work, or it's just being fidgety at your desk, whatever. It can come from so many different angles. But when it comes to food, when it comes to energy intake, it's just what you're choosing to eat, right? All right, let's get to the message of the day. On this day 26. And it's a fitting message of the day. Don't call it a dream. Don't call it, I'm going to do better. Call it a plan. Call it a plan. Call it a very specific plan. All right, now this challenge is very specific. But, as I mentioned, if you're not getting if you're not getting to the point at which I'd like you to be at, you've got to start to put in those steps to get there. Okay, and this involves setting certain benchmarks, setting smaller goals that you can hit, or that you will hit, that you promise yourself you're going to hit, and even planning how you're going to plan for those days. Right? So what is your plan for example, having your food pre-prepared? Well, I put this day in my calendar at this time, and this is where I'm going to, I've basically blocked off this time for food prep for the week. All right, so don't call it a dream, call it a plan. Just like the classes, you're booked for classes, you come in and you do them. It's the same idea with your food. It's the same idea with your cardio. It's the same idea with these 10-minute walks, whatever, okay? Don't call it a dream, call it a plan. Positive energy, positive vibes. Believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow.